All right, good day. So this is just going to be a quick supplemental. Probably maybe do a Wednesday release on this one. I was farting around doing a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to spoil it. This is coming on a separate video, but Tanya wrapped the steering wheel for me with a nice little kit, so got all that done. But while I was in here chasing some other gremlins, and you can see I'm hard at it. So I know at least one of you asked for an audio thing. So I got all the 3 rigs here, and I'm just going to run through the latest one that I did, because I had it all apart anyway. So I figure while I got it out, I might as well kind of show it. So the big thing with the TJs is space. We just don't have it. Underneath the seats, behind the seats, in the footwells, you know, in the back here in the wheel wells, there's just not enough space to really do anything. Whatever you put in there is going to take away from obviously cargo. So I was rooting around for some ideas when I was working on my black one, because I wanted to upgrade the sound, obviously when the top's off. With the factory stuff, you just can't hear nothing. So I'm going to walk you through this one. These ones have the factory soundbar pods. It's not the full bar. These ones only take, I think it's a 5 1/4 speaker, if I remember right. And then the dash pods take like a 4x6, or these ones were, I can't remember the brand of these. I'll look it up. I think they're like an Infinity or something like that. They're a really nice little speaker, and I managed to machine them into the factory pods. I cut out a bunch of the plastic and then got this to fit, and then kind of wedged it in there. You can see it's tight, but it fits. So all of the sound stuff that I bought for the 2 rigs here were from Crutchfield. I've had a lot of good luck with them. They're really responsive on questions, and you know, when you buy stuff from them, they suggest kits that you're going to need to make the stuff fit in your vehicle. For instance, this one's got the double din. I got it all out there, but they actually recommended the double din dash kit. Now I bought 2 of those from them, and they fit beautifully. I've heard some, it's the Metra one. I've heard some of them from Amazon. When you buy that double din conversion kit, the gap isn't right in where the heater controls are and stuff like that. It can be a little wonky. This one I got no problems with whatsoever. And then, you know, you can get the stereo adapter kit for the internal wiring harness. A lot of stuff, they give it to you for free when you buy it. So let's zoot this real quick. So these are the double, this one I bought different. This is a Kenwood. So the one I bought for Tanya's rig was a Pioneer. They're both this nice shallow mount, the way the new systems are. Gives you lots of room in the back. They also come with these side earpieces, so it gives you multiple different mounting options for you know, any kind of head unit. You got you know, various ways to do this. When you get it in the hole, you can obviously move it up, down, in, out, to make sure that your bezel aligns and that all your gaps and everything around the head unit are nice and square, and everything sits nicely in the hole. Inside, there's actually a plastic tray that goes along here. This is part of the factory thing. And one of the things that Crutchfield does is they tell you that you're going to have to make a modification to the hole when you put this unit in. I actually had to cut that plastic out. And the way I did that was with a Sawzall and a metal blade. And just very carefully, without all this wiring in there, you just kind of cut it out. So it worked really good, and you have to break that piece out to get the double din to fit. So that was no problem. I'm still kind of on the fence what I'm going to do with there's some other attachments here. I can obviously do a camera for the back. I can have a video in. I got an external USB. I didn't do anything with it. I might run that up. I don't know. I don't really think I have a use for it. And then obviously all the RCA cables for the amplifier and stuff just go right in here, and then there's a hole right through the dash. So once this is in, there's really nothing to it. And then underneath the dash, so I can't take full credit for this kit, this idea. I actually was researching it a whole bunch, and I ended up on YouTube, obviously. And there was a guy, I think I alluded to it in one of the very first videos I did, is Taboo Customs. He has a Jeep, and he goes through a lot of how-to videos to drop gas tanks and, you know, ball joints and all that kind of stuff. I've watched a few of his videos, and they're very, very detailed. He actually had this, he showed that, and he actually makes a bracket that you can buy. It's a metal one. I can't remember how much it was, like 25 or 30 bucks. And then you can get it shipped, obviously. But I didn't do that. What I did instead was just went and got a piece of fence board from Home Depot, cut it with a Sawzall, and then bought these little L brackets just from the fencing department. And then I just reamed these holes out with a Christmas tree bit. You can see where I marked it. All I did is I held the piece of plywood up, and up underneath the dash here, it's the steering wheel bracket bolts that are right here. There's 1 and 2. And I think they're 10 or 11 millimeter nut that fits over them. It's a 13 millimeter socket. Anyway, you don't have to take those ones off. You just thread these ones over top. So just basically mounted the amplifier to the block of wood, wired the harness, all the RCA cables, everything. This one's a Soundstream. I think it's the 1300D was the model. It's a true 5-channel D-class sub amplifier with it, and it also comes with the bass frequency control. So I just basically tuned it by ear, but it's got all the, you know, your gains for your input gains. You can control them all. You can control your low pass frequency and high pass for each one, each channel. It's 1300 total watts. I think it's at 2 ohms. So obviously for the front speakers, since I only have 2, they're 4 ohm, and then the 2 up in the rear are 4 ohm, which I could probably put another pair and run them in series and drop them down to 2 ohm and get that much more power. But I think for what it is, it's, I want to say 90 watts-ish, what I have right now. And then the sub, I think, is almost 300. The sub that I went with is, I'll put a link to it too, and you can see it didn't fit. We modified the center console to get it in here. I'm gonna find a 3D printer and get a piece of plastic over this with a holder of some kind. I'm still spitballing on what to do there, but I'll put a link to this sub in there, but just keep in mind it will not fit with the factory console. I know Kenwood makes a box with a speaker that actually fits. There's a bunch of videos on it on YouTube already. I really don't need to go into detail on that. But that's a dual voice coil, 8-inch ported subwoofer. So it's at full power. It's down to 2 ohms already in it. You can run it 4, but it's already pre-wired for 2. And with a dual voice coil, it thumps pretty good. So this, you know, with all this wire cleaned up, this bracket just tucks right up in here and mounts on those 2 bolts, and then these nuts just spin on, and then obviously that keeps it way up out of the way of your feet, so I can still get to the pedals without, you know, my feet cramming into that. And even if they do, it's really not the end of the world. I'm just kind of kicking my toes against it. So I had all these wires zip tied up in there, and I will again, but you can see there's nothing that gets in the way of your feet. So I'll clean all these back up, get them tucked up in. So that's kind of it for that rig. The black one, it's a little bit different because I didn't have a center console. Tone, can you grab me that light? I showed this one on the very first video that I did. I think it was Audio Fires or something. It's the very first video. It's like an hour long. Too long. But this has the Tuffy secure console in it, so I don't have a subwoofer in here. So what I did instead, and I think I've seen this a bit around, I did it in the blue Jeep as well, is, what a mess. I actually mounted just an 8-inch Alpine self-powered sub underneath my seat. So I have a spare 200 watt, because that's the one that's underneath that dash is an audio stream. It's a bit bigger. And I liked it, but it was just a little bit more cumbersome. So that's why I went with the Soundstream for that rig. And this one's only 640 watts versus the whatever it is, 1300 in that one. So, and that's kind of it. So I have that spare sub channel. I haven't done anything with it. I don't know that I'm going to. Maybe I'll add a 10-inch sub in there. Relive my youth. All right, had to take a little break and move some stuff around, but I'm back. So the Jeeps are in a little bit different spot, but so the sound system in the black one, you saw the self-powered sub. So this one's just got the single DIN deck in it. It's just a little middle of the road Kenwood, nothing major. It's got the front and rear channel and subwoofer outs, which is the same that the double DIN has. It just doesn't have all of the fancy features like wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay, all that sort of stuff. So, but it still does the trick for what it is. With the underdash amplifier, you still get the same boost. The only thing is the subwoofer. I do not prefer the self-powered sub enclosure. It just doesn't have the same kind of bottom end punch that unpowered speaker, especially in a ported enclosure on an 8-inch. So that's kind of the trade-off. The smaller subwoofers, they don't have the long bass that you would get out of a 10 or a 12, but the powered one that I have, it's $400 and it's still not ideal. And then the other thing is the sound bar. So this one that I put in here is an aftermarket. I bought this one off Amazon. I again, in the very first video that I did, when I did the unboxing, I think it was about 180 bucks, and it comes with some cheap speakers in it. I actually upgraded. These ones are, I can't remember what they are. I think they're like an Alpine, but they got the built-in crossover in them, and then they come with the little tweeters. These ones I just left in, these little mid tweeters. They were part of the stock rig. I just left them, but these were part of the component. So I think they're rated at 90 watts, and they sound all right. The big difference is these are a 6.5 speaker versus the 5 and change that come in the factory sound bars. So that's kind of the upgrade for that. You get the bigger speaker. All the ones in these are all the little guys. But honestly, the sound system that whoever had this Jeep before, when they put in, they didn't cheap out. The speakers in here, let me grab a screwdriver and I'll show you. I can't remember the name of them, but I looked them up for mine and they are really expensive. Let me grab a screwdriver here and I'll show you. Okay, so I got Tanya's cover off, and hers has the same. So this is actually the factory box. It has this surface mount tweeter on it, and this is what I modified. I actually took this off and then carved out this box. But these are a focal little 5 1/4 with a separate tweeter, whereas mine is all enclosed. And these ones sound just phenomenal. They got a really good crisp mid-high to them, and I think they just sound great. And then I'm not too sure what's in here. I never did open these, but I assume they're another set of focals. And again, I checked those and they were super expensive. So the black one, I went with just a 5 1/4 round instead of the 4x6, and I put it in a pod. On the 97 to 2002s, you can buy those aftermarket pods that fit in that dash hole. So that's what I did. And again, it's on that very first video that I did on this channel. It's the audio wiring and stuff. So if you really want to look at that, it's an hour-long video. Just kind of skip through it, and I get into a lot more detail on the install. But so then the question becomes, what does it sound like? I know this isn't going to do it justice because of the microphone and stuff like that, but I got some music that I can play, so I'll give you a chance to kind of hear it. I think I got this all on and connected. Probably not. Sorry for that type of music. So that's a little over halfway, and it can go way louder. It sounds nice and crisp. I don't know how good that's gonna come across, but I mean, you get the idea. Just a nice, clean sound, and even when you're doing 75 miles an hour, you know, cruising down the highway with the windows out and the top off and stuff like that, you can still hear it. It's still audible. So that's going to do it for kind of the sound portion. You know, space. That was what it was for me. I wanted something compact, something that I could fit in the existing spaces and still get that nice, clean sound. So hope you got something out of it. All right. You know, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and let us know what your setup is. It'd be interesting to see kind of the different takes on it. So with that, we'll see you on the next one.